This is Michael Popok with a Trump on trial hot take. We're running out of these. The defense is rested. The prosecution's rested. And you know what that means. Donald Trump did not testify. Is that a shock to anybody besides Alina Habba? I mean, Alina Habba, his lawyer or whatever she is sent out on these missions to confuse and to lie to the American people about what's really happening in the courtroom. She's a shill for Donald Trump. That's all she is. So the reality is, and I'll play you a clip from Alina Habba, what I'm talking about. While Alina Habba is out telling the world that he has every intention to testify, he wants to tell the truth, you know, right, because he's not gagged in the courtroom. He's not gagged from doing anything in the courtroom. If he wanted to waive his Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination, Donald Trump could testify, look that jury of 12 people in the eye and tell them whether, 7 men and 5 women in New York, in Manhattan, whether he did it or not. You know, if he's guilty or not. Doesn't have to. I want to balance this hot take. He doesn't, with what he doesn't have to do, with what he threatens to do, what he tells his followers that he's going to do. That's the only reason I raise it. I'm not here to shift the burden. The prosecution in our system of justice has the burden beyond a reasonable doubt to prove somebody's guilt. And everyone, including Donald Trump, has the right to be viewed as innocent until proven guilty. I agree with that. Well, but then shut the you-know-what up about you're going to waive your Fifth Amendment privilege when you really had no intention of doing so. I mean, on Legal AF, at least Ben Meiselas and me have been saying for the last 2 months, and maybe that's because we're defense lawyers at heart, that there was no way that Donald Trump was going to be testifying. Even Karen Friedman-Agnifilo, our illustrious former prosecution partner and close friend, finally came around to agreeing a couple days ago, no way that Donald Trump was going to testify, especially given that in order to testify, the jury, the lawyers would have to put him on and suborn perjury, meaning they know he'd be perjuring himself. They're not allowed to do that. That's a crime itself. They know he'd have to lie about having the affairs with Karen McDougal and with Stormy Daniels and with everybody else, and he couldn't really, truthfully, say he didn't have these affairs, even though he wanted to. Now you have the resting of the trial. Now, this is not the first time that Donald Trump, right before the close of evidence in his case or any of his cases, says, I'd love to testify. I want to testify. Let me go testify, and then never does. And we know this game on Legal AF. We don't fall for it, ever. Let's watch Alina Habba first, and I'll tell you what really happened, and I'll compare it to all the other places Donald Trump has lied about wanting to testify or actually testifying. Let's play Alina Habba now.
As far as where this all goes next, what would be in the thought process to testify or not testify on the part of the former president?
Well, he's got to listen to his attorneys. It's not as much what he wants to do. We know he wants to testify. He is willing. He is able. He is nothing to hide at all. He's absolutely ready to tell the truth. Frankly, I think the truth is already spoken. He was in the White House while somebody in accounting booked a legal fee payment as a legal expense. It's pretty quick, and it would be a pretty short testimony as far as the questions that would need to be asked, because he had no part in this. The reality of the situation is that we have this judge, we have this court, and we have a DA who has been politically motivated since the minute he decided to run for office. Remember, this was not brought twice, not by Cy Vance and not by Bragg. The only time he decided to bring this case was after President Trump announced that he would be running for re-election. So the real question is one that would be discussed within the legal team, and of course we'll discuss with our client.
You know, he wants to tell the truth. That's all he wants to do. He's ready to testify. He was never ready to testify. They haven't been working on, I'm a trial lawyer. To get a Donald Trump to be able to testify, you have to spend weeks on a guy like that. Weeks of preparation and practice and cross-examination practice. Do you think Donald Trump has the patience, the intellectual fortitude, the mental acuity to be prepared in a case like this? No way. He's the ultimate wild card. And so somewhere along the way, despite his threats, he figured out he gets better mileage out in front of the courthouse behind the bicycle racks than he ever would taking an oath and swearing under, on a stack of Bibles that he's telling the truth. He did the exact same thing in the first E. Jean Carroll case, the one where he got declared a sexual predator, for lack of a better term, who under New York's law of rape, raped E. Jean Carroll at least digitally, and punitive damages and defamation. He didn't testify, and the jury came back. He said he would. He was in Scotland at some golf outing, some ribbon cutting for one of these Trump golf courses in Scotland somewhere. And like from the sand trap or the bunker, I'd love to the reporters. I'd love to. I want to go back. I'm going back to testify. I need to testify. And he never did. And then Judge Kaplan, presiding over that case 2 years ago, said to the lawyer, Joe Tacopina, for Donald Trump, I heard on the media that your client wants to come back and testify. You're telling me he doesn't want to testify, or he's going to not testify in a civil case. Which is it? And Tacopina said, well, you know my client. You know who my client is. And he says, I'm going to give him one more chance. We're going to close tomorrow in that case. He shows up or he forfeits. He never showed up. E. Jean Carroll, too. He said, I'm going to testify. I'm going to testify. And then by the time he got up there, he testified for all of 5 minutes. And the jury came back and didn't just double the award from the first trial. They moved it from $5.5 million to to $83.5 million. Then in the New York Attorney General case, he did testify. How'd that go? I'm going to testify. Good. Swear in. All right. Judge found him a liar under oath and then hit him with a $465 million judgment. Sometimes I wish we could have things in life both ways, like a great glass of red wine, but without the headache. Well, that's not going to happen in that example, but it is possible to have it both ways with Mack Weldon. I know men tend to think looking sharp means starchy Oxfords and stiff chinos, rather than effortless comfort. But it's possible to have it both ways with Mack Weldon. Mack Weldon makes timeless apparel with modern performance fabrics for guys who want to look and feel sharp without sacrificing comfort. From their light as air underwear to innovative anti-odor tees and versatile yet comfortable pants, Mack Weldon has a full range of clothes that never go out of style. I love my Mack Weldon Ace sweatpants. They're incredibly comfortable and also very sharp looking. I have a real confidence boost knowing I'm wearing anything sold by Mack Weldon. Some guys just want to look good without calling attention to themselves. Mack Weldon apparel gives you understated good looks for understated confidence. Mack Weldon clothes are designed to fit your style and the demands of modern life. They look like regular clothes, but feel like the latest in modern comfort. They're the go-to choice for guys who want to look great without even trying. Get timeless looks with modern comfort from Mack Weldon. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code LegalAF. That's MackWeldon.com, promo code LegalAF. So Donald Trump testifying does not positively affect the outcome. It doesn't make things better for Donald Trump. He didn't testify in the first E. Jean Carroll $5.5 million judgment. He does testify in the second one, $83.5 million judgment. He testifies in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case, $465 million later. That was not a successful testimony. And in here, where the prosecution is struggling a bit to prove a misdemeanor into a felony case about business record fraud and election interference or tax interference or whatever the theory is going to be when they do the closing, in a case like that, he's not going to play with two sticks of dynamite and rub them together and hope it goes well in testimony. And so I don't know what Alina Habba is. I mean, we have a lot of recreational drugs now. We have a lot of edibles out there. I don't know what she's on when she goes on these shows, but she's not making any sense whatsoever. And she must know at the time that she says it to the American people that she's literally lying to their faces, because they had no intention ever to have him testify. And he didn't. They rested. The case is over. It is now all that's left is the shouting. All that's left is some motion practice by the Trump side. They'll move for directed verdict to take it away from the jury and have the judge declare that the indictment was improper and the case hasn't been proven. That'll be denied. That'll take all of 10 minutes. Then they'll make some other motions about some reversible error that they think occurred, this testimony or that testimony or something about Stormy Daniels, denied. What else you got? He'll go down the Judge Merchan will go down the checklist. They'll move to disqualify Judge Merchan again, denied. What else you got? Right? And then they're going to we got to get to jury instructions. And then they're going to have this fight about jury instructions, how the jury's going to be instructed, primarily about the second crime. which is, I think, the election interference crime, and then what are the actual instructions. Now, we have a body of law in New York that stretches back over 200 years. We have model jury instructions on many of these counts that the judge is not going to deviate from, that comes from well-established precedent case law in New York at the Court of Appeals level, the highest court, and even the First Department, which is the intermediary court in New York. So there's not going to be much fighting here because there's not going to be much they can say. They'll quibble over, well, should we give this instruction about, once a liar, always a liar, about Michael Cohen or this or that. They'll fight on the margins about this. But the instructions favor the prosecution because none of them go to whatever his defense is. Who could figure out what their defense is if you're the jury? The defense was all done in cross-examination and not usually successfully, including one that blew up dramatically today, when they were able to show that Michael Cohen told the truth when he said on a certain date he had a phone call with both the bodyguard and Donald Trump to tell Donald Trump that the payoff to Stormy Daniels happened and was successful. He proved it. Video evidence, video still evidence, and a stipulation by the parties through Michael Cohen. Powerful stuff, especially to end the case with. The defense put on, or just trying to put on some other witnesses, but they're going to rest. And then it's looking like closing arguments on Tuesday, and maybe jury deliberation Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I think before the Memorial Day weekend. How appropriate. We're going to have a ruling in this case about whether Donald Trump is convicted. And if he's convicted of, I don't think they can split it up here. There's 34 counts against Donald Trump. I think the light switch is on or off. He's either exonerated, found not guilty, or he's convicted of 34 felonies. We'll have to see. We'll keep a close eye on it right here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Now you know why we call it Legal AF. It's on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, a podcast. I do it on Wednesdays with a former prosecutor, Karen Friedman-Ignifilo, Saturdays with my co-founder, Ben Meisalas, and then hot takes like this one, I don't know, about every hour, every 20 minutes, right here on the MeidasTouch Network. If you like what I'm doing on Michael Popok, thumbs up. Leave a comment. It really signals to the algorithmic gods that you want to see more of this content. And then you can slide over and find all of my body of work under playlists, MeidasTouch YouTube, Michael Popok contributor and or playlist, and free subscribe to the MeidasTouch Network right here. It's easy. Just hit subscribe. You're done. Help us get to 3 million free subscribers before the election. We're literally an independent network. You're helping us build with our bare hands. We have no outside investors. No one interferes with our editorial content or voice. Whatever we say goes. No smoke or sunshine right here on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.